Hello, hello, hello. Happy Thursday to all of us. Welcome, community, to another YouTube live event on this beautiful Thursday. I hope you and yours are doing fantastic. Welcome to another community event. As always, we always look forward to these events as they give us the opportunity to not only discuss the industry, look at the overall markets, and just have a broad understanding of what's going on in the industry, but it also gives us the opportunity to build parallels and build bridges and see how our ecosystem relates to all of that. What are the opportunities that we take advantage of? What are the challenges that we find solutions for in order to really reflect it on our ecosystem to stand out? As the title already gave it away, today's topic is Bullrun Staking. It's all about staking today. And we really want to dig into detail and really build a much clearer picture for us so that we can really appreciate what we have and what sets us apart within the industry. How do we stand compared to the other cryptocurrencies, other ecosystems that are also having staking platforms and so on and so forth. These things are very important for us to really embrace and appreciate our ecosystem. Let's keep in mind the blockchain industry is very, very young. And there is a lot of innovators, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of new young communities that are up and coming. And it gives us an opportunity to do things right from the very beginning. And once you build something right from the very beginning, especially latecomers are always the ones that can benefit the most because they can learn from those that have been around the longest, right? So if you really look at the market for what it is, you analyze it, you understand it, and then you pick up the challenges that you identify within the industry that are plaguing the industry on a global scale, and you can find solutions for them, you have yourself something beautiful. So with that said, as always, we always like to visit and see who is here. Let's go through the comments first. Just briefly see who was able to make it today. Then we'll jump into today's topic. There's quite a bit to cover, so we'll get right into it. And then we'll come full circle back and check whether there are any questions, comments that we need to address. And once we're done with that, we'll call it a session. And as I'm going through these comments, Killer Whale, Survivor, and Bullrun tweets are out. Encourage us all to engage with them. Let's participate with them, as we know that especially the Twitter space has deep reach. And the more engagement that these tweets get, the deeper the reach that they will have. And that's the whole idea of this, right? We want as many people as possible to have their eyeballs on our industry, the crypto industry, and also know more about our ecosystem, right? With that said, community, once more, let me welcome all of you that were able to make it today. Brother Dave says hello. Hello, Steve and community. Hope everyone's doing great. USDC rewards for the staking is great for remaining deflationary, right? Absolutely. Great insight, great comment. Brother Cryptorizer says, good day, Bullrun family. The excitement is growing to see liquidity come into the market. Absolutely. That's what we really all are waiting for. And all signs point to next month's, latest by next month's FOMC meeting, right? The Fed's meeting. And that's when that's what we're all anticipating right now. And even the markets are already priced it in. It's literally, they're saying that it's literally 100% that it's going to be cut by next month. So yeah, we're all anticipating liquidity to start entering the markets. So the staking platform can officially start the USDC rewards again. Absolutely, right? This is exactly what we need. Keep loading your bags and staking BRL. Beautifully said, my brother Cryptorizer. My great brother Theo says, greetings and happy Thursday, my great brother Steve, dearest Queen Mama Wino, and my fantastic Bullrun family. I pray that all is well with you all. This staking session is going to be fire. Let's go. Always a pleasure seeing you in the community, my great brother Theo. Great comment, great feedback. Thank you very, very much. We have Queen Grace here as well. Say greeting, Mr. Steve, Mom Awino, and Bullrun family. I'm excited this day and eagerly waiting to learn more from you as always. Thanks a lot for your tireless efforts to keep us knowledgeable. I want to thank you too, Grace, for all the efforts you put in, all your participations. You don't miss a beat. You're always present. I see you all over Twitter, you're all over Telegrams and all other social media. So I want to thank you along with everybody, the rest of the community for all the efforts that they put in. It's all a community effort. We're all chipping in. We're all just contributing and putting in our fair share to enable this community to grow and learn and to succeed. So thank you very much for your kind words, Queen Grace. We have Queen Lati here as well. Queen Lati says, greetings, Bullrun family. Thank the Almighty for the gift of life. Absolutely. This ecosystem has proved to be the reason why some of us still find the energy to press on. This is so beautifully said, Queen Lati. Very wonderful words. Greetings, Bullrun family. We thank. Okay, you wrote it again. Thank you, our developers for being visionaries who have brought lost hope back to life. Thank you so much, Queen Lati, for your beautiful words. You always find words to encourage the community. You are very much appreciated for your feedbacks and your warm words. We have Queen Val says, hello family, happy Thursday to us all. Today's topic is fire. This is one of our strongholds as an ecosystem, our sustainability. Absolutely. Beautifully said. And sustainability will be one of the main focuses of today as well as we go through the process. And we'll see how important it is and why we really need to have an ecosystem that is literally covering all those aspects based on the challenges in the industry. Queen Beatrice says, hello, Brother Steve, Queen Mother, and the Bullrun community at large. Greetings right back to you as well, Queen Beatrice. Always a pleasure seeing you in the community. Queen Val is kind enough to have posted to all the new members to join our community on our Telegram groups. The links are here for Bullrun, for Killer Whale, and Survivor. So if you're new in the community, welcome and feel right at home. These are the links to our Telegram groups and that you can join and be part of our community. Queen Mother Wino herself says, greetings to all our awesome queens and kings. Always a pleasure to connect with you all as we get educated, learn more about our amazing BRL ecosystem. Thanks, Steve, for your dedication to the BRL family. Thank you so much, Mom. I really appreciate you very, very much as well. And thank you for your encouragement, your leadership by example, and for all your dedication that you put in this community as well. We have Queen Patricia here as well. Greetings, family. Another day of enlightenment. What a privilege to be blessed with education. Thank you so much, Queen Patricia. You're very much appreciated for your consistency, your leadership, your efforts. Very much appreciated. Queen Alice is here as well. Greetings, Brother Steve, Queen Mother, and community. Getting excited as days go by, and we thank God for an amazing ecosystem. You're very much appreciated as well, Queen Alice. Thank you for your efforts, your commitment, your consistency, your leadership. You're very much appreciated. And Queen Mother Wino also said this that we read already. Thank you so much, Mom, for your kind and encouraging and uplifting words as well. We see here again, all let's tweet out, family. All the tweets are out. Like we said, let's engage with them. This is the Bullrun tweet. We have the Survivor and Killer Whale also out. So let's ensure that we engage with these. Thank you very much, Queen Val, for always pointing these out and putting out these links. Very, very much appreciated. Let's engage with these tweets. Like we said, it's very important to reach the masses. Queen Cynthia says here, hi to you all community members. Hi to you back as well. Always a pleasure seeing you in the community. Thank you for your efforts, your commitment, your leadership as well. You're very much appreciated. We have Princess Mel here as well. Queen Mel, welcome. Hi family. Hello back to you as well. And that's it. So thank you so much for all of you that were able to make it to today's live stream. as the title gave it away, Bullrun Staking is the topic of today, and I know all of us are eager to get into today's topic, and there's quite a bit to discuss today, right? So let's get to today's topic, and let me share my screen so we can get this rolling. Bear with me as I am preparing the full screen so I can share the full screen with you. All right, briefly, right? Let's just briefly look at today's market. For a short period of time, Bitcoin had hit 60,000. It's back to 59,500. Same with Ethereum. It had gone to 2,600. It's back to 2,590 region. Generally, we're up 7.5% for the day. And this is all we can say. Fear and greed index is at neutral, right? And because there's still so much anticipation, uncertainties, this market is extremely volatile. Simply, it's just still too young. There's not much liquidity in here, so the volatility is very, very high so far. You know, it has both its goods and bads. So because the good thing is because it's still young, there's so much potential for growth, and that's the beautiful thing, right? We are very early in this industry. It's still a very young industry, right? With a very young, small market cap, only 2 trillion. Apple alone is 3 trillion, right? So we are still very, very young, and this is good. This is an opportunity for us, right? And the bad thing about it is, like we always discuss, but that's not today's topic. It's due to its lack of liquidity. It's very volatile. It's a very volatile market, right? That's all I really want us to look at on CoinMarketCap for right now. But let's get to today's topic, right? Today we want to discuss staking. Staking plays a major role in this industry. How big of a role does it play? Let's look at it, right? How big is the role of staking? So as always, before we really jump into the topic, we always have to look at an overview, right? Let's see the history of staking. How did all that take place? What is staking in the first place? Who are involved in staking? How do you stake? You know, all of these need to be clarified first. So when we talk about staking, especially for those that are still not familiar with staking, we'll be all on the same page, right? And that's the most important thing. These events are educational events. They're here to inform and educate and inspire, right? They're not financial advice. It's just, we're just here. Look at these sessions as your point of reference, right? This is your first place that you come to get a knowledge, a well-rounded knowledge, and then you go down the rabbit hole and do your own research, right? With that said, where did staking even come from, right? So there's an individual with a surname King, right? And another called Nadal. They actually, in 2012, they shared a proof of stake, right? Also known as POS concept in a paper, right? As a solution to Bitcoin mining's energy consumption problem. So many were complaining that, or are still complaining that Bitcoin is consuming so much energy, right? So as a solution, these two individuals decided to share a paper back in 2012 to tackle a challenge, a problem, right? Following that introduction, King launched Peer Coin in 2013, making it the very first cryptocurrency to employ staking as a means of validating transactions on the blockchain, right? So there are two ways of validating transactions. There is the proof of stake, which is new that we're looking at right now, and there is proof of work, right? That's literally Bitcoin and Dogecoin, right? Because it's based on blockchain. So since that time, staking has exploded in popularity, as we know, aided greatly by the Ethereum merge in September. So in 2022, Ethereum transitioned from proof of work, like Bitcoin and Dogecoin, into proof of stake, right? This converted the network from a proof of work, exactly like we just said, to proof of stake consensus, right? Today, the market cap of Ethereum, we can look at it right here. Is it still accurate? It dropped to 311 right now. The market cap is at 311 billion currently, right? And crypto staking scales the security and growth of proof of stake blockchains, and can also present a novel opportunity to earn rewards for crypto experts and beginners alike. So what are we looking at here? We're understanding that staking is supposed to serve to secure, right, the platform, the ecosystem, the blockchain. So staking is very important. It plays a key role to bring security and stability, not just to the blockchains, but also to the staking platform's ecosystem application itself, right? So the highlight of this article, of this section right here, the takeaway is staking plays a major role in securing and stabilizing the platform, the ecosystem, the blockchain, right? So another thing also, a takeaway, is by incentivizing these participants via staking rewards, right? Because you have to incentivize these individuals. They are literally putting their tokens, their cryptocurrencies at stake, right? The proof of stake model encourages more engagement with the ecosystem, with the crypto ecosystem, right? Which could spur growth of current and future blockchains. So incentives are very important. So staking has major roles, 3 roles: securing, security, stability, and incentive. Those are the 3 takeaway of this part of the article right now. So staking is important for security, stability, and incentives. Very important, right? We're not going to read the whole article, don't worry. We're just going to briefly get to the meats and potatoes, the most important parts of this, right? We just want to have an overview. We're not going to go into details. So another thing that is very important also is, what is crypto staking? Like we ask ourselves, right? For those who are not familiar with it, generally speaking, crypto staking allows token holders to participate, like we discussed, in validating as validators as a proof of stake consensus mechanism. And you do this by locking their tokens into a staking contract and running the associated validator software program. So this is where you might ask yourselves, okay, what is all of this, right? And as we are reading through this, we will identify a couple challenges. We always take the solution approach. So as we're going through this article, not only are we identifying what staking is for and what it does, but we also want to identify what are the challenges that we see in the industry right now, because our Bullrun ecosystem is all about solutions. Identify, analyze the industry, find the loopholes, find the challenges, and then come up with solutions and implement them, right? So step by step, as we're going through this, keep in mind we're looking for challenges, right? So staking contract is they're locking their tokens into a staking contract, and then they have to run a validator software, right? Now this brings us here. What do you mean running a validator software, right? So not only do you need 32, at least you have to hold at least 32 ETH, but you also have to run softwares, right, to be a validator. This is for Ethereum specifically, right? If you want to stake Ethereum, and unless you have 32 ETH laying around, which right now, based on this current price, is roughly, what is it? Is roughly 83,000. So if you have $83,000 worth of ETH right now, and you are familiar with running validator softwares, you can't stake, basically, right? But there's a solution for that too. Though some parts of this process can be automated, or outsourced to third parties. Now, this is the challenge that we're facing right now. Here is the challenge. Unless you have 32 ETH, which is over 83,000 right now, and you're prolific with software programs, right? You have to give your tokens to a third party, literally, right? You have to give it to that validator who has the 32 ETH. So this is the first challenge that we face. You don't have control over your assets if you want to stake. Currently, you have to give it to a validator, right? And to be a validator, like we said, you need to run softwares, and you also need at least $82,000 worth of ETH, which is 32 ETH right now, right? Let's keep that in mind. That's the first challenge that we see. So the more crypto validator stakes increases, the odds are likely that they'll be able to verify. So, and another challenge that we see here is in return, they earn the associated staking rewards, right? So it's not even guaranteed that you're going to earn. You have to be chosen. And once your validator is chosen to validate those blocks, unless they're chosen to validate these blocks, they won't get no rewards, right? So that's another challenge as well. So staking ensures the stability and security of a proof of stake. We've discussed that, right? Staking is here to stabilize and bring security to any blockchain or application or ecosystem, right? And validators risk losing their crypto that they've locked in staking contract. When? If they attempt to behave dishonestly, right? So now you're at the mercy and you have to trust the validator. But if they choose to act dishonestly and you entrusted them with your own cryptocurrencies, with your assets, guess what? You'll lose them, right? Because they're locked away, you gave access to your own assets and you're risking to lose your assets, right? Though reward structure vary in return for locking cryptocurrencies in an illiquid contract, validators typically receive rewards in proportion to their staked cryptocurrency. This is very important to understand. This literally tells you the more you stake, the more you receive, right? You receive the rewards based on how much percentage-wise that you staked in that pool. That's very important to understand also. And those rewards will generally grow in value if the blockchain successfully scales and becomes more popular. It takes more than just scaling and being popular, and we'll understand this as we progress, right? So this is very simplified. It takes more than just being scalable and being popular. It takes more than that, and we'll look at that much more clearly. And another thing I want us to look at here briefly is when it comes to participation in staking process, there are two key roles. And these are the roles, like we said, right? Just understand that there are validators and there are delegators, right? Validators are those who have the knowledge to run the software program and also have 32 ETH. Those are validators. And delegators are those that don't have 32 ETH and don't know how to run software and now they're literally delegating their assets, giving full control of their assets to an individual that they don't know. And if they act dishonestly, might lose all of their assets. So these are the challenges that we are facing right now in the industry, especially we are focusing now on the Ethereum blockchain, right? Because all our 3 tokens are on the Ethereum blockchain. So keep in mind, these are the challenges right now. And that's not it. The challenges go even deeper, right? Let's look at a couple more challenges just to have a good overview, right? So through staking, these are the challenges and risks, right, of staking. So though staking has benefits for the crypto ecosystem and individual investors, it's not without challenges, like we said, right? One of which is, surprise, surprise, illiquidity. What a surprise, right? We can't avoid the liquidity topic. We just can't. It's all over the place. So one of the challenges of staking is being illiquid. What do we mean with illiquidity? Because we are all humans. We all tend to have emergencies, unexpected emergencies, and we would like to effortlessly, just withdraw our assets, right, at any time that we want. But because the current staking models are illiquid, meaning that due to unforeseen circumstances, a user needs to access their investment during the lockup period. So most, if not all, staking platforms currently have a lockup period, right? So it takes time, it takes weeks to get your investment. But what if you're in an emergency? You need it now, right now. First of all, you don't have access to your assets. You're a delegator. You had to give it away to a third party, right? And now you have to wait for weeks until you get your assets back. That could pose financial difficulty or missed opportunity, right? And this is exactly what happens. And this is another challenge. So you're not liquid because you can't, first of all, you don't have access to your assets. You don't have access to your assets right away, and you can't sell it immediately whenever you want. So we identified a few challenges here, right? And that was by purpose. That was to just set the stage for us to understand how the industry runs right now. Again, to summarize, the staking platform, staking is very important due to three aspects, right? It stabilizes, stabilizes the blockchain or ecosystem, brings security, right? And it serves as incentive. However, it has challenges as well, right? Like the last one we talked, is it illiquid? You have to give it to a third party unless you know how to run a validator, and run programs, software programs, right? Other challenges like we saw here also are the reward structure, right? Generally, it's important that your ecosystem can scale and become popular. And this is how actually ecosystems or blockchain applications grow, right? Based on their efficiency, right? Because blockchain technology, blockchain applications, they don't manufacture things. It's literally based on adaptation and usage. That's how applications grow in value as well. The more people use it, the more valuable it's supposed to become, right? Just like Bitcoin right now. The more people embrace Bitcoin, use Bitcoin, trade Bitcoin, and the more people buy it, obviously that's how it grows in value, right? Other cryptocurrencies are very familiar. It's not different. Now that we have this overview, right, let's zoom in and identify the challenges specifically. First of all, again, if you look at the top 10, let's just be humble and look at the first top 10 cryptocurrencies, applications, right? Starting with Lido and ending at Spark. We identified that the top two alone are based on staking. These are liquid staking platforms and restaking platforms. Eighth, Rocket Pool is also a liquid staking platform, right? One of the largest. They have billions and billions staked and locked in their ecosystems, right? But for purpose of time, we want to zoom in on one specific one, right? And our favorite one, Aave. We'll lock in on Aave. And why Aave? Because we want to highlight now the challenges in the industry, right? And to summarize those three challenges, it's inflation, right? So the staking platforms currently are inflationary. They are inefficient and unsustainable, right? Inflationary, inefficient, unsustainable. So those are the three challenges we want to focus on right now, right? And then also, of course, we have to come back and identify what we read here, the challenge of illiquidity, right? Because you want your staking platform, you want your staking platform to be liquid. If you need it, if you need your assets now, you're supposed to have access to them and not have to be hindered by locking period or lockup periods, right? So this is another thing that we also will come full circle and look at. But for now, let's focus on those three challenges: inflation, inefficiency, and unsustainability, right? So let's start by looking at inflation. One of the challenges in the industry are staking platforms are inflationary. We looked at all of them right here, and all 10 of them are inflationary. What does that really mean? It means that these and the chart shows you, right? It shows you how inflationary they are. But to make it even more specific, how are these staking platforms inflationary? Because first of all, they give you their own native tokens as rewards, right? We identified that incentives are very important. If it comes to staking, they bring stability, security, and incentive. And the incentives are causing inflation, right? That's the first issue that we have. All these top staking platforms or applications that have staking applications all are inflationary. They're giving you their own tokens. If you stake Lido, you get Lido. If you stake Aave, you get Aave. And so if you stake Uniswap, you get Uniswap, so on and so forth. So they are causing inflation. And this is a challenge that we face in the industry right now, and that we really have to identify. And like we said, if you look here, they're giving you their own native tokens. That's inflation, and that's a challenge. That's something that is causing the staking platform to not be desirable. What do I mean with that? If you look at Aave right now, look at their staking percentage. There's only 17.5% staked, Aave staked. Now, keep in mind, this is not a meme coin, right? This is not a coin that just came up last year. This is the largest lending platform in the industry. It's the third largest overall application in the industry. It has over 11 billion locked up. This is a major application, right? However, no smart money does not desire to stake the token, right? You see it, there's not much staked, only 17.5% is staked, right? Why? Because they are inflationary and they have a long locking period, and they have these challenges we've discussed. The locking period is high. It's illiquid, right? It's inflationary, it's unsustainable, and they're inefficient, right? And these are the challenges we face. We're not picking on Aave. We just want to pick the largest ones, because if the largest applications are already facing these challenges, we can only imagine the smaller ones, right? They'll be even worse. So we're just highlighting, we're not bashing any application here. We're just highlighting the challenges in the industry, right? We are addressing them. We are highlighting them. So in Aave's case, they are inflationary. They're giving you more Aave tokens for staking. And now let's go to the second one. The second challenge is inefficiency, right? How is Aave inefficient? It's because to do that, let's look at Uniswap. You are inefficient because this supply eventually will run out, right? This supply is going to run out. Right now, the reserves is at 4%, 4.8%. This is all that Aave has left. They only have 766,000 rewards left, right? Once this runs out, they're running out of distributions, right? They're running out of incentives. And this is exactly the amount here, 766,000 Aave left. After this runs out, it's over. This is their staking contract, right? So it's very inefficient. It's inefficient because once they run out of these, they run out of rewards, they have no incentives anymore, and staking has three purposes: stabilize the ecosystem, secure the ecosystem, and incentivize the stakers. So they'll lose all three of them, because once you run out of rewards and you don't have incentives, nobody will want to come and secure, or rather put their tokens at stake and stake with you, right? So that's how these applications will become unstable, not secured, because they don't have rewards, right? And this is exactly what you see here. And this is the reason why you even see that smart money doesn't stake Aave, right? Or any other applications for this matter. We just picked Aave. But they're all the same. They're all inflationary. They're all inefficient, and they're all unsustainable. So now that we've identified that, we can, just to prove that we're not picking on Aave, same thing is for Uniswap, right? What is Uniswap? I'm sure we're all familiar with Uniswap, right? Uniswap is the 7th largest application in the industry, right? It locks up 4.4 billion dollars in the application. It's the largest exchange, decentralized exchange in the industry. So it's not something that is a meme coin or some project that just started last week. It's been around for the longest, right? And still, nonetheless, it's very inefficient. You see this blue? This is 60%. These are tokens allocated to the community, meaning that to those who are staking Uniswap or those who are providing liquidity, right? It started at 60%, right? And we're talking about inefficiency, right? So if we come here, we see that out of the 60%, there's only 38% left, right? And this means that they're running out. eventually they'll, just like Aave, they're going to run out of rewards. And what is staking all about? Staking is all about securing your ecosystem, stabilizing your ecosystem, and incentivize the stakers. So what do you think will happen once you run out of your rewards? Nobody will be incentivized to put their cryptocurrency at stake and to lock them up for weeks, right? Nobody will want to do that. So what will that cause? It will cause insecurity, right? Less security, less stability, and because there's no rewards, they're running out. That's what we mean with inefficiency, right? So if you are inflationary, like we discussed, you're inflationary because you keep giving out. And another thing I want to show here is, yes, it started at, they're at 38% now, and actually it was at 60%, right? So this shows you that is dwindling, is running down, and same with Aave as well, right? It's now at 766, and they're running out of rewards. Once that happens, gone is security, gone is stability, and nobody will want to stake your token. And already there are not many staking in the first place, right? And we'll get to why staking is so important, and we'll compare it with other projects, right? So if we move on, and go to the third challenge, unsustainable, right? So if your staking platform is inflationary, right, giving native token as distributions, and not only that, but it's also running out of the rewards, so it's inefficient, right? Due to these two aspects, naturally your platform, your ecosystem, your staking platform is unsustainable. How will you sustain it if you're running out of rewards, you're inflationary, right? It's not going to happen. You are going to lose stability, security, and you're going to lose users on your platform because they're not incentivized to lock up tokens. Nobody locks up their tokens and puts them at risk at no incentive. Nobody does that, right? So security, stability, and will be all gone, right? And now let's look at the lockup period. Like, it's illiquid. People want to have access to their assets as fast as possible, as quickly as possible. But due to these lockup periods, it's really unattractive to many investors because they understand that, especially during the bear markets, you don't want to lock up your tokens in a project that is literally inflationary and that is literally running out of rewards too, and that is unattractive, right? So due to this, let's look at the locking period. That's another issue. That's a challenge, right? So now that we've discussed this and now that we understand this, let's go to the next step now. We have to now, this was an overview on a global scale to look at what's happening. And before we zoom in and get to our ecosystem, I'd like us to look at one more thing. And this has to do with the staking component, right? We saw here how 17.5% of Aave is being staked right now. How does that compare with ours? What is our staking percentage? And then let's go even further and look at globally, generally, compared to other projects. How much staking, what are their staking percentage? Let's look at that briefly before we zoom into our ecosystem Bullrun and then dissect it that way. So to compare, we need to first of all look at, in comparison to Aave's 17%, right? 17.5%. How much BRL token is staked, right? We look at here. This is the BRL token, right? Bullrun token. How much is staked right now? Currently, it's 62.6% is staked. So way more than Aave, right? Way more than Aave. So literally almost 5 times more, 4 times more, right? More than 4 times more. So to understand this 62% also, let me explain this. as you see here, there's 606,000 BRL tokens that are staked. So for the math geniuses out there, your question will be like, how does 606,000 come to 62%? Shouldn't it be 60.6%? You're right. You're right. But the reason why it's not 60.6%, but it's 62, is because our last event's topic, banning. Our supply is shrinking, right? We have a shrinking supply. And why you might ask yourself, why is this so important? It's because the more our supply shrinks, we started at 1 million, right? We started at 1 million in total supply. But now officially, let's look at it. Officially, we've banned 32,000. So congratulations to the community. This is a major, major accomplishment, but it's just a milestone as we still progress, because with every trade, we're still banning a lot of tokens, right? We're still banning a lot of tokens. And right now we have 967,000 left, but 32,000 is banned. That's 3%. And not just banned, but removed from the total supply completely. There is no staking platform out here like we looked. We can look at the top 10 right here. None of them, these staking platforms, are scarce, let alone deflationary, right? But as a staking platform, it's important to be scarce. It's not even enough to be deflationary. You have to be scarce as a staking platform, right? So with that said, it's a great accomplishment for the community that we officially have more than 32,000 tokens, not just banned, but removed from the total supply, as you see here, because we started at 1 million supply, right? Another thing that we also want to identify, now that we've discussed this, and we'll get back to the percentage, but we need to really discuss this as well. What I want us to understand, the reason why we talked about the staking percentage, if we compare the staked percentage with other applications, with other projects, it will really open our eyes. It will really make us appreciate our ecosystem. Biggest cryptocurrencies in the world. First of all, what are we looking at right now? We are looking at the biggest cryptocurrencies in the world. Based on what? Based on total staked value, right? Actually, we're looking at not the staked value, but the staked percentage. That's what we're interested in, right? Because we saw Aave here, they have a percentage of 17.5, right? We saw us here, how much do we have staked? We saw we have 62, right? 62%, 62.6. So based on the 62.6% staked, how does that compare to the world, right? These are the biggest cryptocurrencies. So how do we stand? Sui is the number one, right? They have over 81, almost 82% staked, right? So they're by far the ones that stake the most. Aptos 77, almost 78%, and then Saga. And keep in mind, these are all blockchains, right? Most of them are blockchains, actually. Celestia 69%, right now they're in the 60s as well. Cardano 65, Solana 65, Cosmos 63. Oh, and then the next one is 58. So what does that mean? These are top 13. These are the top 13 blockchains that are based on their staking percentage. So if we count down, you realize that we are actually currently, as of today, we are the 8th most staked cryptocurrency in the world. And we are not competing, or we are not in challenge, or we are not comparing with meme coins or with other community tokens. These are all established blockchains. These are all blockchains that we all know and very familiar with, right? So based on, amongst all these blockchains, the top 13 blockchains in the world, which are the biggest cryptocurrencies in the world, based on, we're looking at the staked percentage. Currently with 62%, right, that we have 62.6%. We are officially number 8. Not bad, not bad at all. For a project that just came out of the bear market, we're barely 1,000 community members, and we still have an entire bull run ahead of us. And because we are scarce, we have a scarce supply, we saw that the staking, this is why you see, even though we only have 606,000 bull run staked, it's already at 62.6%, simply because as this supply shrinks, the remaining supply grows. What does this tell us? This tells us that we are way ahead of the competition, meaning that we are way on schedule to eventually become the most staked token in the space. As of today, we are the 8th largest, right before Sai, right before Polkadot, Avalanche, and Tron. Let's look at Polkadot, Avalanche, and Tron. Before we look at them, who is slightly ahead of us with 63, 65, and 65 again? 65 is Cardano, 65 is Solana, right? So who is just barely ahead of us in staking? Cardano and Solana. Where is Cardano and Solana? So Solana currently is the 5th largest blockchain right now, right? They have 65% staked. So they're barely ahead of us. And we have Cardano, right? Cardano is the 10th largest cryptocurrency. They also have 65% staked. So within the top 10 staking platforms, they're the top 10, among the top 10 staking blockchains. They're only 3% ahead of us, right? And of course, they've been around way longer. They have way more users than us, right? They have way more market cap than us. So, but still, if it comes to staking, we are right there with them, right? But now, what's interesting is, let's look at who are we ahead of, right? Avalanche, Polkadot, and Tron. Where are they? So Tron is the 11th largest blockchain in the world, right? In the entire industry. We have more staked tokens than Tron. Avalanche is the 12th largest. We have more staked than Avalanche. And Polkadot is the 14th largest. And we have more staked BRL than Polkadot have staked their tokens based on the amount, right? They have 57, 53, and 49 respectively, right? And even Injective, we have more stake than Injective. So this just shows you that we are, as a community token, we are doing extremely well. And we are amongst the blockchains and the biggest cryptocurrencies in the world. And we are already currently officially the 8th most staked token in the entire industry. This is a big deal, right? And we are not even warmed up yet. We haven't even gone through a bull cycle yet. And we are still burning tokens, meaning that our staking percentage will keep increasing, eventually putting us on the top of this list easily. Why am I saying that? It's because at our peak, we had 84% staked. So let's say we go back to the peak where we had staked, we'll be the #1 staked token in the entire industry, right? And another thing I want to highlight here that is very important for us to understand is this line right here, the rewards. Guess what rewards are being given here? Guess which rewards? They're giving you this, the exact issue that we're facing, right? They're issuing their own native tokens, right? So all of these 13 cryptocurrencies, they're not giving you a stablecoin. They're not issuing USDC stablecoin. They're giving you, Sui is giving you Sui token. Aptos is giving you Aptos token, and so on and so forth. Cardano gives you more Cardano. Solana gives you more Solana. And they don't have any burning mechanism. They're not deflationary, let alone scarce. So not only are they inflationary by giving you their own tokens, but they don't even have a burning mechanism either, right? So they're not sustainable. It's not going to sustain. And eventually they're going to run out of the distributions. Unless they have unlimited supply, then they have a whole different issues anyway, because that means they're inflationary in the first place, right? And the chart is going to just look like this, right? And these are the challenges that we're facing right now in the industry community. Now that we've talked about this, Another part of inefficiency is volume, of course, as well, right? Now we ask ourselves, how do these rewards, like we discussed, they're about to run out of them, right? And when we zoom in, we look at the volume and see more in detail how inefficient they are, right? So let's move on now to the booster. Why is the booster so important? Why is this staking booster so important? First of all, before we get to this, let's highlight, right? If you want to stake, let's present our staking platform to you. This is the staking platform. If you want to stake, obviously you come here, you connect your wallet, right? And you pick whether you have a MetaMask, your Trust wallet, or Coinbase wallet. You pick which wallet you have, then you connect. Once you connect, you'll be able to see this, right? You're now connected to the staking hub, to the staking application. Another thing before we get into this that I want to highlight also is very important. Do you remember another challenge that we faced here? You are actually staking with third parties, right? If we go back here, you see how it's being outsourced, third parties, right? Not everybody has is automated. Not everybody's staking platform is a smart contract. Actually, it's outsourced. You have to outsource to a third party. So many of these validators are third parties. So unless you have to become your own validator, like we discussed, you need to run softwares, right? And you have to have 32 ETH, like we said. If you don't have this, you have to outsource your staking. You have to give it over to the validators. You have to delegate your assets to do so. So why am I saying this? The difference is with ours staking platform, it is literally our staking platform. It's a staking contract, right? Let's look at it here. It is literally a staking contract. If we go here, you see that it's an in-house staking contract. It's a contract, right? And also, it's not a third party. It's a smart contract. You don't have to give it to a strange individual that you don't know, and you don't have to source to third parties. Many staking platforms are outsourced, right? And this is why you don't see any meme coins on this list. They don't even have their own staking platforms. This is why you only see blockchains here, right? And amongst these, we have our own staking platform. This sets us apart in the first place. We don't have to give it to another company to stake it for us on behalf of the community, right? So you always have your assets under control. And this is what I wanted to highlight with this. Let's go back here. So you have, once you selected your MetaMask wallet or your Trust wallet, your Coinbase wallet, these assets are under your control, right? Now let's zoom in. Let's zoom in now and look at how are we addressing these challenges, right? First of all, the other challenge that we discussed, remember how we discussed lock period? We don't have no lock period. We don't have no staking or unstaking fees either. We're not charging individuals to stake or unstake their assets. We don't do that. It's free, right? And we have no lock period. Remember where the locking period, how that causes illiquidity, right? This is the challenge. It causes illiquidity. And people don't like to be illiquid. If you need your assets right away, you have to wait for weeks because they have a lockup period. All these staking platforms, they have a lockup period. You can't just unlock immediately. 3 in the morning, you need some funds. You can't just unlock and leave, even though it's your asset. First of all, it's not even, you have to delegate your assets. They're not yours. And this is what sets us apart. We ensure that we are decentralized, meaning you own your own wallet, right? Let's start from the top. So if you stake your BRL tokens, you don't have to run any software. You don't have to, there's no limit amount that you need to have, right? You can stake as little or as much as you have, right? You can always stake. And also we give out USDC distributions, right? We don't give native tokens. And this is very important here. It's based on volume. This is very important. It's based on volume, right? And depends on the market conditions. It's based on volume. And we'll discuss how important volume is and how volume and liquidity go hand in hand, right? So Bullrun staking, another thing is that to add liquidity, you need staking boosters, right? You need the NFT. So we have a utility NFT that you need. One gives you 6%, and you can max out at 5 to give you the 60%, right? So you can boost your USDC distributions. We'll get into that. So we have a dual staking platform, meaning you can stake the BRL tokens, like you see here, but you can also stake the NFTs themselves, right? So if you only stake your BRL tokens, you only get 70%. But if you add your NFTs, then you can max out at 100. So how do you get your NFTs? Let's go back here. First of all, what is that NFT? Why is it so important? This is your NFT staking booster right here. This is your Bullrun staking booster, right? Why is this so important? By staking only BRL tokens without Bullrun NFT boosters, you are limited to only 70% of the distributions, right? However, if you decide to maximize 5 boosters and buy 5 boosters, you'll be able to unlock 100% of your USDC distributions, right? Why are these boosters so important to us? It's because they are a scalable source of revenue. Do you remember what was told to us earlier in this article? Why? What is important? With more engagement with the crypto ecosystem, which could spur growth and current future of the blockchains. But what also did we hear? To grow in value if the blockchain is scalable, successfully scales and becomes popular. How do you scale? This is where this comes in, right? We scale by using this revenue of these boosters. Why? What are we using it for? They are used to feed into the liquidity pool, right? Why are you talking about liquidity again? Isn't this staking? Now we're about to get into this. We're leading somewhere. Also, this enables Bullrun to build a sustainable and healthy liquidity, right? And volume dictates the USDC distributions. This is very important to understand. This means that as long as there are ongoing trades on Uniswap, the USDC distributions will be perpetually accumulated, right, by all participants, right? So why is all this so important? And what has this to do with liquidity? Why is liquidity everywhere? Everywhere we go, there's liquidity. Now, let's break down why it's so important. First of all, the sale will use the revenue from these boosters to buy even more BRL and provide liquidity for it. And liquidity is very important because volume dictates the USDC distributions. That means that wherever the more liquidity you have, the more trade volume you get, right? Don't take my word for it. Let's verify. It's very simple to verify this. If you look at the top, let's focus on the top 3 cryptocurrencies. The first one is Bitcoin, then Ethereum, and then USDT, right? So let's focus on this column right here. This is the volume column. Now, for the math geniuses out here, if you look at Bitcoin and Ethereum and you calculate, right, you add these 2 numbers together, 41 billion and 22 billion, you'll realize that it only comes to 63 billion, right? So let's be generous and give them 64 billion. So Bitcoin and Ethereum combined have a 64 billion in volume, in daily volume, combined. However, the stablecoin on its own has 70 billion, so 6 billion more than the 2 largest cryptocurrencies. And if we focus on this column right here, to really just bring this point home, if Bitcoin has a 1.2, let's say 1.2 trillion in market cap. Ethereum has over 300 billion in market cap. If you combine these, add these market caps together, right, you'll come to 1.4. almost 1.5 trillion in market cap. Now, if you take the 115 billion in market cap and divide by this, you'll get 8%. So the number 3 cryptocurrency, which is a stable coin, which represents only 8% of what these two, as far as market cap combined, represent. Nonetheless, they have more volume than these two. So 8% asset has more volume than 92% of the asset. This just shows you that at the end of the day, the largest volume always goes to the cryptocurrency with the largest liquidity. So the more liquidity you have, the more volume you get. Now let's go back to what we were saying here. Do you get the idea, the reason why we always focus on liquidity? Because the more we focus on liquidity, the more volume we'll get. Because the more liquid your asset, the more volume you get. It's as simple as that. But let's not stop there. Let's look at it even further. This is important for you to understand, and use this to do your own research. There is something called volume to market cap ratio, right? And it's a very interesting ratio. Let's read what it's about. What is this? Indicator of liquidity. Wow. This indicates your liquidity. So the higher the ratio, the more liquid the cryptocurrency is, right? So let's look at it. It's at 60.87, so almost 61%. This is Tether. This is a stable coin. This shows how liquid Tether is, how liquid this cryptocurrency is. It's almost at 61%, right? Okay. Let's start with the smaller one. Let's start with Ethereum. Ethereum is 7%, right? Ethereum right now is at 7%. Keep in mind, USDC stablecoin was at 61%. So one of the second largest cryptocurrency is basically 9 times less liquid than a stable coin, right? It's only at 7. But let's look at the largest one. It's half, 3.5%. It's half of that of Ethereum. So Ethereum is more liquid even than Bitcoin itself. Look based on market cap, right? If you compare market cap to market cap and look at based on their market caps and how liquid they are based on their market cap, Ethereum is twice as liquid as Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is 3.5, right? This is the second way to verify how illiquid or how liquid an asset is. So use this matrix, use these numbers. It's on CoinMarketCap. You can come and look it up yourself, verify yourself. Look at your favorite cryptocurrencies. Look how liquid they are, right? And just to be fair, of course, we have to also be fair here. And keep in mind, this is a stable coin, right? This is a stable coin. Stable coins have to be extremely liquid. It's natural for stable coins to be liquid, right? They're required to be liquid, right? So it's at 61%. So let's look at Bullrun. How liquid is Bullrun? Let's compare, right? Let's do the math here. It's a very simple math. What you do is you divide liquidity by the market cap, right? Let's do that together. So right now our liquidity is 309, right? So 309, we'll just keep it like that. Divide by 672, right? And then we multiply by 100. So we're currently at almost 56%, 45.98. We're not a liquidity. We're not a stable coin, right? We're just a regular community token, right? Utility token. But our liquidity to market cap ratio right now is at 46. It's at 46 roughly, it's 46%, compared to stable coins 60 or 61, right? So we are well on our way to really be, as far as regular cryptocurrencies that are not stable coins, we are extremely liquid. And the reason why we focus so much on liquidity is, now that you know, is because the more liquid you are, the more volume you get. Tether alone has more volume than Bitcoin and Ethereum combined, even though it's only 8% based. They only have 8% as far as market cap of what Ethereum and Bitcoin combined have, right? So this is why when you see that we're retaining liquidity and for our staking platform and for our ecosystem, is simply because the more liquidity we have, the more volume we have. Why is that so important? Let's go back to our staking platform. It's important because the distributions are based on volume, right? So because we want our community to have as much USDC distributions as possible, we have to accommodate and retain liquidity. The more liquidity we have, the more volume we have. The more volume we have, the more USDC distributions for the community. That's how it works. And now we're coming full circle on how efficient it is, right? If we look at it now on a general base now, we identified the challenges in the industry, right? What was the challenges? It was based on Aave being inflationary, right? Aave is inflationary, they're inefficient, and that makes them unsustainable. Also, they have long lock periods, they have stake and stake fees that you have to pay, right? And if when we looked at our staking platform, we realized that we have none of that, right? We have no staking or unstaking fees. We have no time lock. You can unstake immediately, and you don't have to wait for weeks to get your liquidity out. It's your wallet, it's your asset. You always have full control over your assets, and this is what the blockchain technology is all about, right? To empower the retailer, to empower the community. You don't have to rely on a third party to stake your assets for you, but you stake it yourself, you unstake it whenever you feel like it. And because we focus on liquidity, we'll generate enough volume consistently to retain the rewards, right? That's where efficiency comes in now. So in contrast, we saw how Aave is about to run out of their distributions because they're giving you more Aave, which they put aside and it's running out. We looked at Uniswap. They started at 60% rewards. Now they're down to 38%, so it keeps shrinking. Eventually they'll run out of it. And how are we addressing that? We're addressing that by using our volume, trading volume, to accumulate more USDC for the community. Also, we are using, we're using the revenue from our boosters to add more liquidity as well, right? And then also, of course, like you know, we put aside the 10% and we're staking this 10%, right? Reserves. Our reserves are staked, and these staked reserves are earning us staking rewards, USDC. And what we do with it is buy and stake. We keep buying and staking even more, right? And the more USDC we receive, the more BRL we purchase. And this also generates volume, adds liquidity and burns token, right? And then the bulldozer effect is on up to us, liquidity, community. We can individually decide to compound, to keep buying and staking. And why is that important? Because like we said here, usually the more people, the more you stake, right, typically receive rewards in proportion to their staked cryptocurrency. So if you're a staker, you typically receive rewards in proportion to your staked cryptocurrency. And our ecosystem is different. We are literally giving you the opportunity to receive USDC distributions, and now you can decide what you want to do with these distributions. You can also buy back even more and stake. And in proportion to the amount of tokens that you have, this is how you're also going to receive your distributions, like we saw here, right? You receive rewards in proportion to your staked cryptocurrency. So we're giving the community the option to use their stable coins, the USDC stable coins, that doesn't cause inflation. to purchase even more Bullrun by buying back and staking even more, right? So this is the opportunity that we give the community. And as you do that, you are the one benefiting. But at the same time, the whole community is also benefiting, because the more you buy back and stake, that means the more liquidity is being retained, the more tokens that are being banned, and also the more USDC distributions are being accumulated, right? So your actions individually that benefit you individually benefits the entire community as well. This is why we say that with Bullrun ecosystem, we don't have to step on each other's necks or heads to succeed. Actually, the more we work together as a unit, as a community, the way the blockchain community or the blockchain industry is supposed to do in the first place, the more successful we will be as a community. That's the beautiful thing about our ecosystem, right? We all win together. As long as we work together, we all win together. And this is why when we were reading the comments from Queen Grace, when she was saying that how committed we are, you know, and how we consistently show up and educate the community, we're just doing our part, right? And everybody else in the community there, we're all doing our parts, right? Everybody's contributing whatever their talents are and adding value to the ecosystem. If it's you know, if it's educating, if it's just being engaged and active during the tweet sessions, or if it's showing up consistently during these 4 weekly events that we have. This is all contributions. This is how we all contribute, and this is how we grow, right? So at the beginning, we identified 3 challenges that plague the industry, right? Staking, first of all, is because we need stability, we need security, and incentive. We need to incentivize, right? And if we zoom in and really look at our ecosystem, we identified that we're doing just that, right? Because based on our staking percentage, like we saw here, we are literally, first of all, you see here, we're issuing USDC distributions. We're not giving BRL tokens, we're giving out USDC. This is how we address inflation. Instead of causing inflation and giving back native tokens, like all of these are doing, these rewards are all in native tokens. They are causing inflation, right? And they don't have a band mechanism. They're not deflationary, so let alone scarce. So these are staking platforms that are literally causing inflation. And this is why, if you look at the charts of these platforms, they all look the same, right? Even if we go to Uniswap, let's look at Uniswap chart. You see here, it looks identical like Aves, because they're inflationary. Their staking is just inflationary, and this is why not many are staking these tokens. Only 17% are staking Aave tokens, because they're inflationary, they're unsustainable and inefficient, right? And you need to watch out for such staking platforms. And unfortunately, majority, actually the top 10 here, they're all like that, right? And even if we look at the most staked tokens, the top 13, they're all inflationary, all of them. And they're all giving you their own native token as rewards. And they don't have a banning mechanism either. So we had to do things differently. And this is why we created a whole different ecosystem, one that is actually banning tokens and removing them from total supply. We started at 1 million in total supply, right? And like we saw here, we are now down to 967. We've banned already 32,000 tokens and removed them from total supply, which represent over 3% that is banned. So we are the first and only scarce staking platform in the industry. And if you look at our percentage staked, we are currently at 63.7. We're at 63.7% right now. So one of the community members, probably the second oldest one, has staked as well, right? So we are closing in on 64%. So where does that put us? You see, so we surpassed Cosmos already. So we are actually seventh most staked token in the industry right now. So look how close we are to Cardano and Solana. Solana is the 4th largest cryptocurrency. Cardano is the 10th largest cryptocurrency. And these are blockchains. And these are the only blockchains that we can actually compare with, right? And this is so great for our community. We are a community token, but in comparison, we have to compare ourselves with blockchains, well-established blockchains. And at our peak, our aim is to become the most staked token in the industry, and we will achieve that easily just based on our fundamentals and tokenomics. We will be the most staked token. Also, we want to be the most liquid cryptocurrency as well, right? And the one that issues the most distributions, right? However, our distributions will not be based on the native tokens like we saw, but our distributions will be based on stable coins, right? So if we go back and summarize, first of all, I want us to understand that the way you can purchase, since we are here, if you want to purchase these booster NFTs, you come to NFT, right here on top, NFT, and then you can hit the plus button. This is how you can adjust and get your 5. One is 0.1 ETH. So that means the higher the ETH price, the more expensive the NFTs become, right? So it's based on ETH. And also, the way you get it is that, and the beautiful thing about these is, like I said, if you stake 5 of them, you get 100% of your USDC distributions. And the revenue generated from here is going straight to the liquidity pool, right? This is how we keep ourselves liquid. Why are we focusing so much on liquidity? Because the more liquid you are, the more volume you get. We just saw it with the stablecoin. A stablecoin has higher volume than Bitcoin and Ethereum combined. And these are, Bitcoin and Ethereum have ETFs. Tether doesn't even need ETFs, right? Bitcoin and Ethereum have ETFs, are the most popular and the oldest cryptocurrencies, but they can't keep up with a liquid cryptocurrency. This is why we focus so much on liquidity, so that will be the cryptocurrency with not just the deepest liquidity, but with the highest volume outside of a stable coin itself, right? And that's the difference. Now, I would like to present something. You know, we have to always pull up the calculator, even if it's for our brother Theo's sake, right? And we want to talk about inefficiency. Remember how we said how inefficient that Aave is, for example. What do we mean with inefficient? In terms of staking, it's very important, like we said, to be sustainable. And how are you sustainable? You're only sustainable if you have a burning, if you're not inflationary, so you have to be scarce at least. And also, the more liquid you are, the more stable your asset you become. But also, the more staked, the higher your staking percentage, right? The more stable you become. So this is very important. This number right here is extremely important because this means stability. This means trust. This means that the community is standing behind this project. Because if you look at Aave's staking, it's only 17%, right? And not many people want to stake an inflationary asset, right? That doesn't even have a burning mechanism, that is running out of staking distributions in the next couple of years, right? It's very important and has a long locking period. So these are things that we need to look at, community. And these are things that once we understand, we can really appreciate our ecosystem. We can really appreciate that we have something unique. We have the only staking platform that is literally scarce, right? So instead of inflating the markets with more tokens, like we see here, they're inflating, they're giving more Aave out, right? And they're giving more Cardanos out, and more Celestia, and more Solana. We don't do that. As a matter of fact, we are actually banning them. We're actually removing them from the total supply. We are decreasing the amount, actually, right? And this is what's important. And for a staking platform, you need to have scarcity, right? But many of these top staking platforms or blockchains don't have that. And this is what sets us apart, right? We're not bashing anybody. This is just to inform, educate, and inspire, and to just highlight the challenges we face in the industry, right? So currently we are the 7th most staked cryptocurrency in the world, and we are comparing with the biggest. These are the biggest cryptocurrencies in the world, right? And we are right on number 7 with 63%, 63.7. So we're just behind Solana right now. And Solana is the 4th largest, right? The 4th largest cryptocurrency, the 5th largest. So this is a big deal, community, and it was important to understand how our staking platform works. And also one thing I want to show you too, once you're at your staking, you can also come to boosters, right? This is where you stake your NFTs. It's very simple. Once you'll see the amount right here you have, you can just hit max, or you can just type here how much you have, right? And then if you don't have any and you want to, you can just hit mint more, and it will take you right here where the NFT boosters are. So either you can come to NFT, right? Or if you are already at staking, you come to boosters and you hit mint, and it will bring you right here, right? So this is it for today, community. This is just to highlight, we highlighted the challenges in the industry. Unsustainable staking distributions, inefficient staking platforms, right? And this is not good, right? And of course, like we said, before we go, we have to look at how inefficient they are. So 211 million in volume, right? As always, we want to take half of that. Let's use 100. And what are we calculating, Steve? You might ask yourself, right? We are calculating efficiency or inefficiency, right? So as a staking platform that has 211 million in volume and has a chart like this, there's something wrong fundamentally, right? So we want to identify that if we had half of this volume, which is 100 million, how efficient, we just want to highlight efficiencies here, right? How efficient would we be based on our fundamentals right here, the tokenomics? So just for the sake of Brother Theo, let's do this, right? So if we take 100 million, and 1% of 100 million, of course, is 1 million, right? So what does this mean? A million. This is 1%. So that means that $1 million worth of BRL tokens are going to be banned and removed. So that means more banning is taking place. How does that affect staking? You might ask yourself. It affects it because that means the remaining tokens in the staking platform the percentage is going to shoot up even more, because the more tokens we ban here, that pushes this percentage even more. So as we trade and ban more tokens, the staking part of it shoots up even more. You see, it says 63.7%, but there's only 616. It's supposed to be 61.6% for the math geniuses out here, if we were not banning any supply. But because we are banning supply intensively, the remaining tokens, the percentage keeps increasing. And this is why I want to highlight this. Those rewards will generally grow in value if blockchain successfully, becomes this. But now what I want to highlight here is that though validators typically receive rewards in proportion to their staked cryptocurrencies, right? So based on how much you've staked, that's how much USDC you get. But because of our mechanism, because of our banning mechanism, you might ask, why is banning so important? What has that to do with staking? It's because the more we ban, naturally, the higher the percentage of your tokens become, right? So then more this number shrinks, the remaining tokens that you are holding in your wallet, percentage-wise, it's increasing, meaning that your share of the staking distributions become even more, right? So this is not financial advice. This is not any monetary advice or anything. This is just explaining how a mechanism functions, right? This is what efficiency is all about. We're talking about efficiency, right? And then if we look at our USDC distributions based on the 100 million, that means that 1 million USDC is going to be distributed among the community, right? Let's look at our staking contract. This just means that instead of the 2,400 right now here, we'll be having 1 million every 24 hours based on the 100 million volume. And these will be distributed amongst these stakers, right? Amongst these stakers right here. So these people that decided to stake, they will share the 1 million in USDC. They'll share that amongst themselves, right? And on a daily basis. And as that is happening, of course, the more tokens are being banned. So everything happens together. And now we get to the most important part now is liquidity, right? So because liquidity is 3%, so to understand how much liquidity that will be generating based on the 100 million, because 3%, we have to multiply by 3. What does this tell us? This means that every day, based on the 100 million volume, 3 million will be added into our liquidity, right? So 3 million will be added in our liquidity. And how about for the month? So 90 million will be added to the liquidity every month. How about the year? 1 billion in liquidity will be added into the liquidity. $1 billion worth of liquidity will be added onto us within a year based on 100 million volume, which is half of what this staking application has. They have 212 million. We just did math with half of it. This is just to highlight how inefficient they are. And if you want to look at, let's come to CoinWatch, right? Let's look at Aave. What are we looking for? We want to see how liquid they are. They have a liquidity of 32 million, their liquidity, right? Remember, let's do the math again. Let's forget this. Let's do the math. We saw that we had 3 million, right? So that means that right now, Aave has 32 million, right? And Aave has been around the longest. They're the largest application, third largest application in the industry, right? They have over 11 billion locked up. So they're a big deal, right? And they have a liquidity of 32 million right now. Based on their volume, actually this says 281 million. We only took 100 million, so almost 1/3 of their real volume. If we had their volume of 100 million, one day we'll accumulate 3 million. So that means to catch up to them, it will take us barely, let's say, 13 days. Even 12 days is enough. 12 days will accumulate 36 million, right? And they've been around for 7 years. And they're at 32 million, right? So, but it's not fair to compare or to draw parallels with Aave. Let's pick. You can pick on the second largest, third largest application. Let's not pick on the third largest application. Let's look at the biggest, right? Let's look at the biggest. Let's look at the biggest. What is the biggest? It's Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is the largest, and it has, based on just liquidity alone, it has over 1.3 billion in liquidity, right? This is Bitcoin. They have 37 billion in volume, right? And 1.3 billion in liquidity. So based on our math, this is 12 days, right? Let's go back 12 days. This is 1 day, 3 million, right? So if we multiply this by 365, so we have a year, we are at 1 billion. So now we are literally in the ballpark, as far as liquidity is concerned, just based on 100 million, not based on 37 billion. It just shows you how inefficient this industry is, right? Bitcoin has 37 billion in volume, daily volume, but only 1 billion in liquidity. But if we did the math with 100 million, and within a year, we'll actually surpass Ethereum. Let's go back to Ethereum. We'll surpass Ethereum as far as liquidity. Ethereum has 885 million, right? So we will surpass Ethereum because we'll have over 1 billion in liquidity within a year. And we keep in mind, Ethereum has a 22 billion in volume. We just did the math with 100 million, right? And usually, whatever your liquidity, the more liquidity you have, the higher your volume. Do you remember that? We showed you how this is why Tether has the highest volume in the entire industry. They have the smallest, they have a small market cap, but because they have such a high liquidity, the volume becomes more, right? So keep this in mind. It's very important to retain and have liquidity, because the more liquidity you have, the higher your volume. So at 1 billion in volume, obviously, we will have a couple billions in volume. If you have 1 billion in liquidity, that means you'll have a few billions in volume as well. But if you compare with Bitcoin, we quickly realize that within a year, only at 100 million volume, we'll be competing, as far as liquidity is concerned, with the largest cryptocurrency in the world, Bitcoin. This just shows you how inefficient this industry is and how much room for growth that we have as a community. If we decide to work together, if we really understand the potential of our platform, of our ecosystem, and we really rally behind this and embrace it, and educate, inform, inspire individuals to embrace it and use it efficiently, this platform is developed for the retailers, right? All these products by all these large institutions, they're not developed for us. Actually, they have an entrance price. Usually it's 25 million. If you don't have 25 million or above, you can't play with BlackRock's products, Fidelity products. You need a certain amount to even play or be able to even be part of those products. So this is why being decentralized is so important. It's borderless. It's open for everyone can participate, right? And most importantly, this is a staking video, but our staking rewards depend on liquidity. So this is why the more liquidity we have, the more volume we will get. And the more volume we will get, guess what? The more USDC rewards we'll get, right? Just like we showed you here. It says that these are based, the reward, the USDC distributions are based on, the USDC distributions are based on the volume. So if we want more volume, we need to accumulate more liquidity. It's as simple as that. This is it for today, community. This is the staking video or summary of our ecosystem today. And so far we've been talking about liquidity. Last week we spoke about burning, and today we spoke about staking. So those are our 3 elements that we have. Next week we're going to discuss and summarize all 3 of them and place them all together and see how efficient, effective, sustainable our ecosystem is. We have liquidity, we're retaining it. We are scarce, right? We are burning, we are deflationary, we are scarce. And now we have a staking platform that is literally not just sustainable, but also efficient, right? So this is very important for us to embrace what we have. We have the most scarce staking platform that is the most liquid and the 7th most staked, right? We are number 7 right now, the 7th most staked cryptocurrency in the world. Amongst the biggest cryptocurrencies in the world, we are the number 7 right now, right? And by the time we are going through the bull run cycle, let's come back to this chart and look at where we'll be. I'm really curious, right? Our aim is, as a community, to all succeed. And we can all succeed only the more informed and educated we are about our community, our ecosystem, our platform. the more enthusiastic we will be, and also the more enthusiastic we'll make others to be by informing and educating them about our platform. And to do that, it's important to always understand and have a bigger picture of what the industry is like, right? And this is why we always like to share statistics, charts, real examples, right? So that we understand where the large players are. These are the largest players in the industry. And we have to make these comparisons with them, not in a bad way, but just to highlight where opportunities are and how we took advantage of those challenges and developed a platform that is addressing challenges that Aave is not addressing, Lido is not addressing, Uniswap is not addressing, right? And this is what sets us apart, community. This is it. And as always, I want to come back to you to check with you whether there are any questions on your side. Bear with me. Let me stop sharing and come back to the comments and check whether you have any feedbacks, questions, remarks from your side. Bear with me as I'm setting this up. So I'm back. Let me check with you. Let me check with you here. Okay, let me go through this. And as we're going through this, community, let's ensure that those that have not yet, let's engage with the tweets. It's very, very important. They're all out. Bullrun Survivor and Killer Whale are all out. And also, let's engage with the, let's hit the like button. Let's make sure that this video reaches as many people as possible. We all know why, right? We want to reach as many people as possible because we want to inform and educate people about this industry. And we also want to build parallels and also highlight what value that we bring to this industry, which solutions we bring to these challenges we identified, right? And this is why next session will be very important. Next week, we're going to put all these together. We'll put burning together. We'll put staking and liquidity together, right? And then discuss how that combination really sets us apart, right? We're not only scarce, but we're also liquid. We're not only scarce and liquid, but we also have a very sustainable and efficient staking platform as well, right? So let's get to Queen Anne here. Queen Anne says, thanks, Steve, for your continued training. Always looking forward to this, the training days. May our Lord continue giving you wisdom. Thank you very much, Queen. And you are very, very much appreciated. Thank you for your warm words and well wishes. We are happy to have you here with us in the community, and thank you for participating in today's event. Uncle George, always a pleasure seeing you, Uncle George. Thank you for being part of this session today. Happy Thursday to you, Steve, and our Bullrun community. I'm glad that we have a vibrant ecosystem that is safe and rewarding. While the industry is shaken because of currently market situation, we are okay. This is a great point that you're bringing up, Uncle George. This is the reason why we paired with the stablecoin, with USDC. A few days ago, like you rightly said, the markets were really shaken, right? It was really red, and the entire market was just dropping and falling in price, right, and in market cap. Within 24 hours, the crypto industry alone lost over $1 trillion in market cap, and over $1 billion was due to liquidation because people had bet that the price is going to go up, and it was a massacre. It was a bloodbath. But like you rightly said, Uncle George, we were just standing still, right? And this is part of the mechanisms that we have. And this is exactly what we mean, that when we go through this bull cycle, our ecosystem is developed to retain a lot of liquidity, burn majority of the tokens, and also accumulate USDC distributions. That way, once the music stops and bear market starts and things happen like the last few days, now you see that once we accumulate enough liquidity and have consistent volume, while everything else is falling apart aside, it won't affect us directly. Just like you said, Uncle George, it's true. While the industry is shaken because of current market events, we'll be fine, right? Because we're not paired with any of those cryptocurrencies, and because we have a sustained liquidity on our own, and we have enough liquidity which brings enough volume, and nobody has to panic because there's not enough liquidity there, right? So it's a win-win for the staker, for the trader, and for the holder, and that's what we're all about. So thank you for your feedback, Uncle George. We have my brother Abdullahi here. He says, warm greetings to you and happy Thursday to you all. Thank you so much, Brother Abdullahi. You are very much appreciated for your leadership, your involvement, your consistency as well. And we wish you also happy Thursday. We have Queen Resego here as well. A blessed evening to our Queen Mom, our Mama Wino, our King Steve, kings and queens of Bullrun ecosystem. This yet another day to come and learn from our best. Thank you so much for your warm words. You're very much appreciated, Queen Resego. We see you all over the ecosystem. You're very active, you're involved, consistent. You're very much appreciated. My brother Abdullah says here, warm greetings and happy Thursday to you all. Greetings to you too. Brother Poloko says, good evening all. We wish you also a good evening. It's a pleasure having you here as well with us. Thank you for participating in today's event. Queen Patricia says, sorry I came late. Olympics, Zimbabwe athletes ran 200 meters. We lost, but at least Tebogo of Botswana took gold. What a great accomplishment. I knew that there must be some sort of sports going on for Queen Patricia not to be on time, but you are excused, Queen Patricia. As long as we got gold, that's good, right? I'm happy. So are we. We're happy with you as well. Thank you for the session, Steve. Again, stay protected and blessed always. Thank you so much, Queen Patricia. It's always a pleasure seeing you in the community. Thank you for your positive energy and your leadership and consistency as well. Queen Nancy says, good evening, Steve. Hello, BRL community. This is a very educative and helpful video. Very well explained and presented. Thank you, Steve. You're very much appreciated, Queen Nancy. Thank you so much for your warm and kind words. It's always a pleasure seeing you in the community. Thank you for your consistency as well and your leadership in the community. We have Queen Patricia here. Wow, what a milestone. This is so incredible. BRL is unstoppable. I believe you're talking about the banning, the 32,000 that are banned and removed from total supply. That's a big milestone. And the beautiful thing about this, Queen Patricia, is that it doesn't stop there. It just keeps banning because we have this banning mechanism in place. The bannings will just keep going on and on infinitely, right? As long as the trade's going on, as long as there's liquidity that brings even more trades in, the more we will ban, right? That's a beautiful thing. Good evening, Steve. Hello, community. This video is very educative and helpful. Thank you for a great presentation. As always, keep up the good work. Thank you so much, Queen Nancy. Very, very much appreciated. And we have Queen Patricia says, Steve, you are God sent. Thank you, Mama Wino, for our developer, Steve. Stay protected and blessed as always. Thank you so much for your kind words. We're just doing our part to assist the community, right? Like everybody's chipping in, everybody's really doing great. Even you, Queen Patricia, every value that you can add for the community, you've been adding. Every community member that is adding and chipping in is very valuable, right? We're all doing our part. So it's just part of contributing. It's a community-driven process, right? We're all chipping in. Queen Beatrice says, very informative, educative, and inspiring. Thank you, Brother Steve. May the Lord continue blessing you abundantly. Thank you so much for your warm words, well wishes, Beatrice. May the same be to you and yours as well. Thank you for being part of this session today. You're very much appreciated in the community. Queen Lati says, community, this is God-given opportunity to most of us. I have no more words to explain how privileged we are to partake in this project. It's actually a driver that pushes you to share with someone. Beautifully said, Queen Lati. This is why it's so important that we always do these 4 weekly events, right? These 4 weekly events serve to enlighten us, right? To have a broader understanding, first of all, of the industry, because we can't appreciate what we have if we don't understand what challenges we face in the industry. This is why we always like to zoom out, look at the industry as a whole, pinpoint and highlight the challenges, and then zoom in and present the solutions within our ecosystem. How are we adding value to this industry? How are we taking advantage of the blockchain technology in a good way to benefit the community? And which challenges are we having solutions for? And how does it look? How can we use this platform efficiently? These are very important for us. So these sessions always serve to ensure that we are all on the same page. So well said, Queen Lati. Queen Anne says, thank you, Brother Steve. Very educative as always, and always looking forward to it. Thank you. May our Lord bless you abundantly. Thank you so much for that. You're very much appreciated as well. Queen Patricia says, hello, Brother Steve. We can't thank you enough for this rare gem. This is a big gift to the BRL community. Thank you so much for taking your time and posting this comment, being part of this session today. You're very much appreciated as well, Queen Patricia. And keep on bringing your questions that you have. It helps not just the community, but it puts us also on the same page, that we're all on the same page. My great brother Theo says, thank you, great one, for pulling that calculator out. Love it. As always. Also, may I ask, whatever happened to BNB in terms of total percentage staked? I can't seem to find that info. Thanks again, great one. The calculator is dedicated to you, great brother Theo, and you're absolutely right. BNB has been exempt simply because CZ, the CEO, former CEO, the founder of Binance, he alone controls 90% of the supply. So that's why you can't find the info anymore, right? He holds the absolute majority, single-handedly holds the absolute majority of the total BNB supply. This is why. And because also they keep banning their supply, you can imagine the remaining tokens become even more, right? So that's why eventually he was just overwhelmingly holding the majority of the supply, and it just doesn't paint a clear picture anymore. And this is why they're not even listed anymore, because it just doesn't represent a decentralized way of staking, right? It's completely centralized. That's the reason why they removed BNB. At some point, they used to be actually the most staked token, but again, like I used to say back then as well, simply because the owner just owns the majority of the tokens, so that it's distorting the reality, and it doesn't meet the decentralized ethos of staking, right? It's completely centralized. That's the reason why. Great point you brought out, Brother Theo. And then we have Queen Val. Queen Val says, let's hit the like button, family. This is very important, community. As we know, it's more engagement we have, the more reach this video will reach other people, and it will help to educate many people on our industry, on our ecosystem, and bring them forth, bring them on board to join our community, hopefully. So well said, Queen Val. Let's all engage. And even after this live stream, I encourage us to comment, like, and engage with the video. It helps a lot to push this video to as many people as possible. We have Queen Valgechi says, wow, very informative. Greetings, Steve. Greetings back to you too, Queen Valgechi. It's a pleasure having you here, being part of this session today. We have Queen Grace here as well. Queen Grace says, thank you very much, Steve. The more liquid we are, the more volume we get, and the more USDC distributions to the community. Very powerful. I couldn't have summed up this session any better than what Queen Grace just did, right? This is exactly the bottom line, right? This is why we always talk about liquidity. Liquidity is literally the bloodline. Liquidity is the foundation of everything. If we want volume, if we want USDC distributions, if we want liquidity, we need liquidity, right? Without liquidity, there is no volume. Without liquidity, there is no USDC distributions. This is why we always retain and we have mechanisms in place to be the most liquid cryptocurrency outside of stable coins, the most liquid cryptocurrency, right? Only after stable coins. And our aim is, of course, to have a one-to-one liquidity to market cap ratio to be extremely liquid, close to stable coins, right? So very well said, Queen Grace. This is right on point, right? Liquidity is the foundation to bring volume, and volume used by liquidity, using liquidity brings us even more USDC distributions. That's exactly right. What we have here is Queen Vangechi says, wow, very informative family. Greetings, Steve and family. How might the evolution of staking mechanism impact the future of DeFi and blockchain technology as a whole? Thanks, Steve, for the session. Wonderful question, Queen Vangechi. The evolution of staking, it's still in such early stages like we saw here. We all witnessed how inefficient the staking market still is, right? We looked at two charts. We looked at DeFi Llama. Actually, you got me now. I have to go back to answer this question. It's a good question. Let me share my screen here. I need to go back for it to make sense. I need to show you this. We looked at this, right? Keep in mind, the question is the evolution of staking, right, in DeFi within the blockchain technology. And we see that we've been around for decades, for 15 years. And most of these applications on Ethereum have been around for at least 5 years or more, right? And most of them are based on staking, right? And like we see, they're focusing strictly on on staking, restaking, even lending platforms or DEXs have all staking mechanisms within them. However, what we identify is that they're all very inefficient, they're inflationary, and they're thus unsustainable, right? So if we talk about evolution, there needs to be a major shift, a major change. These projects as we see them right here, and most importantly, these are blockchains. These blockchains that are based on proof of stake, they are causing inflation. So why would you build an application on a blockchain that is fundamentally inflationary and unsustainable? This is why we say winner takes all, right? This is why we so strongly believe in like that Ethereum is the choice, right? Because if you are, let me go back there. The more Ethereum that is being used, like you see today, they're actually burning 417,000 currently, right? Still, it's inflationary, roughly, however, not as bad like it used to be before. So as we are picking up and more liquidity starts entering the markets and interest rates get cut and people start trading, keep in mind, JP Morgan chose Ethereum, BlackRock chose Ethereum for their liquidity fund, right? Tokenized assets, and for their collateralized assets in the case of JP Morgan. So to answer Queen Mangechi's question, the evolution will have to have a 180 shift, because this is not sustainable, this right here. This is why we see that there will be only barely a handful of blockchains that will make it at the end. Many will not make it based on their weak fundamentals, right? And those who change their mechanisms, their fundamentals, and focus on deflationary aspects, right, of their mechanisms, and those who are more efficient by using their high trading volumes like we saw here, right? You can't have such high trading volume and just not use it efficiently. So there is lack of efficiency, right? There is too much inflation, as we see here. And the rewards are also running out, like we discussed, right? Because these rewards are eventually going to run out because they're not sustainable. They're not using their volume to retain even more USDC. They're just giving you Aave that are being allocated. Uniswap, same thing, right? It started at 60%, like we said, but now it's down to 38%. So these rewards are shrinking. Eventually they'll run out. Once they run out, your proof of stake platform will fall apart, because if people unstake and start selling, guess what? Your stability is gone, your security is gone, and you ran out of rewards. Nobody's incentivized to stake. So to come back to your question and to answer it, Queen Wangechi, it is simply, there'll have to be a whole different change. There'll have to be a major change of fundamentals, of tokenomics. People will have to change and do things differently, right? People will have to literally do things differently to make their platforms sustainable, to just simply survive. There'll have to be a major shift. This is why we always say, do things right from the very beginning. If you do things right from the very beginning, you won't have to go back and try to fix things. This is why it's important that we did things from the very start the right way, right? We've deployed before we deployed the smart contracts, we have 3 different smart contracts. They were all audited. First of all, security is key. Secondly, we deployed a finished project. It was a complete ecosystem done, right? And then thirdly, we didn't have any VCs and any whitelisting and all that. Everything was funded from the founders themselves, from our own private wallets, right? There was no private listing and private purchase and all of that. And then fourthly, and most importantly, this platform was developed for the community, right? For their best interest. So this is why we did everything as far as fundamentally right from the very start, right? Ensure that we address those 4 challenges. So it will be a long way, but the evolution will have to be that more community tokens or more projects will have to address those 4 challenges, Queen Wangechi, as simple as that. Not just us as a community. Other community tokens or projects will also have to develop ecosystems that are deflationary, at least, if not scarce, that retain liquidity and that have sustainable staking platforms and that are using their volume efficiently. That's the future. That's the future of DeFi. So great point you brought there. I hope that answered your question. Queen Grace says, more of God's perfect grace to you always, Steve, and Queen Mama Wino. Right back to you as well. Thank you for your kind words. You are very much appreciated, Queen Grace. Queen Wangechi asks, how does inflation in a staking cryptocurrency impact the long-term value of staked assets? Like we said here, it's very important to understand that staking in the long term, the way it affects the other tokens is like we discussed. We have a scarce banning mechanism, right? So the more trades that are happening, first of all, the more liquidity we retain, the more volume we have. The more volume we have, the more bannings that are happening, right? And also the more USDC we accumulate. All of these aspects are working together, right? So that means that the more liquidity we have, the more BRL are going to be banned. And the more BRL that are being banned, the remaining tokens are automatically, percentage-wise are increasing. Like we saw, right? We only staked 616,000. However, it's almost 64% because we are banning supply. So the more supply we burn, the higher the staking percentage will be. That means that us that are staking our tokens will receive a higher share of the USDC distributions, simply because trading is taking place. There is no other asset like that is giving so much back in terms of fundamentals, right? So that's how it affects staking. That's how inflation in staking cryptocurrency impact long-term value of staked assets. So that's inflation is actually doing the opposite, like we saw with Aave, right? We saw Aave, how Aave is giving you more Aave tokens. As you stake Aave, you receive more Aave, right? And that causes inflation. And eventually this will run down to zero. And another thing also is because these rewards are not sustainable. And because they're not sustainable, they will run out eventually. 5-6 years down the road, they will run out of it. Once that happens, nobody will want to stake. And if nobody stakes your token, that means gone is the security, gone is stability, gone is incentive, and you'll be left vulnerable, right? And this is how people will just unstake and sell the tokens, and eventually it will break down because there is no incentive. With no incentive, there is no security and no stability. And the way you secure stability is by having liquidity and having a large amount of your staking tokens staked, actually. And also by retaining liquidity, of course. Scarcity, liquidity, sustainable staking distributions, like we always say, and efficient use of volume. So more and more we'll understand the reason why we do what we do, because those are the only ways to really have a strong and sustainable platform. Great feedbacks, community. This was a very informative session, and thank you so much for your great feedbacks that you posed here. And I hope your questions were answered today. And I hope it was an informational, educational, and inspirational session. Like I said, it's not a financial advice. Today, these sessions are just here to inform you, educate you, and look at them as your starter, as your point of reference, that you can move on from there and go along the rabbit hole and do your own research, right? So it's very important for us to really understand that we are all about informing and educating our community, and education and information gives us power. The more informed and educated we are, the more powerful we are as a community, right? So thank you for everyone that was engaging, asking questions, your feedbacks, very well received, very much appreciated. Queen Wangechi says, well understood. Thanks, Brother Steve and Queen Mother Wino. Indeed, we are blessed to have you. We are also very humbled to have such a wonderful community. Thank you all for all your inputs. Thank you for showing up in such great number today. Thank you for your participations. You're all very much appreciated. Queen Ali says, BRL, the best option. Very well said. And this is the best way to literally summarize this session today. Thank you once more, Queens and Kings. Thank you for taking your time on this beautiful Thursday. I want to wish you and yours a wonderful rest of your week. As always, we're looking forward to to the next session that we have. Hopefully, maybe you'll have more questions or more feedbacks there to discuss further about this session today. There was so much to be explained or told today, so maybe you want to marinate on it, and then maybe you have more questions or feedbacks on Saturday. With that said, community, once more, I want to wish you all a wonderful rest of your week. Stay focused, stay safe, and looking forward to another community event with you all. Until then, hopefully see you again tomorrow as we retweet again, or latest by Saturday as we have our Telegram VC. For all the new members, welcome. The links are out there that you can join our Telegram groups or our Twitter. Feel free to interact with today's video, like, comment on it. It's very important as it will reach as many people as possible. Also, those who have not yet, ensure that you engage with the tweets. All of them are out so that we can reach as many people as possible. everybody's contribution counts, because we can't do this as a one-man power, one-man show or one-woman show. It has to be all of us individually contributing, right? And this is how we can grow fast, we can grow strong, right? And we can bring awareness to as many people as possible. Thank you so much, community. Wish you a wonderful rest of your day. And till next time, bye-bye, everyone.